Welcome back to Divine Chronicles, Legends of Immortals. If you enjoy myths, legends, and the hidden truths of the gods, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story. Now, imagine a world where the crops no longer grow, the trees wither, the rivers dry, and humanity begins to starve. Not because of war, not because of monsters, but because one woman, one goddess, grieved. Her name was Demeter, the mother of harvest, the goddess who fed the world, and the one who, in her sorrow, nearly ended it. This is more than a myth. This is a mother's love that defied the gods themselves. Long before modern science explained the seasons, before tractors tilled the soil and fertilizer guaranteed a yield, the ancient Greeks knew one truth. All life on Earth depends on the will of a single goddess, Demeter. Demeter is one of the 12 Olympians, the divine rulers of the cosmos. She is the daughter of Cronus and Rhea, and the sister of Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. But unlike her siblings, who wielded thunder, oceans, and the underworld, Demeter held something even more powerful, the rhythm of nature itself. She governed the fertile soil, the growing crops, the turning of the seasons. Every stalk of wheat, every blooming flower, every harvest was a whisper of her blessing. To the people of ancient Greece, Demeter was more than a deity. She was hope, food, and survival. And when the people prayed, they didn't ask for gold or glory, they asked for rain. But even a goddess of life carries sorrow. And when that sorrow came, it brought not just sadness, but famine. Every goddess has her heart, and for Demeter, it was her daughter, Persephone. Persephone was beauty incarnate, a radiant young goddess whose laughter was like spring wind and whose footsteps made flowers bloom beneath her feet. She and her mother were inseparable. They shared sunrises and golden fields, walked hand in hand through orchards, and whispered secrets among olive trees. To Demeter, Persephone wasn't just her child. She was her entire world. But one day, that world shattered. As Persephone picked wildflowers near a quiet meadow, the earth beneath her feet cracked open. From the darkness below, a chariot of black obsidian burst forth, driven by Hades, god of the underworld. In a moment, he seized her. The ground closed. The meadow fell silent. The earth still spun. The sky remained blue. But for Demeter, time stopped. She searched the mountains, the seas, the clouds. No one would tell her the truth, not even Zeus. So she disguised herself as a mortal woman and wandered the earth barefoot, alone in grief. Demeter, the bringer of life, became the symbol of loss. The goddess who once fed the world now couldn't even find her child. And from that day forward, the flowers refused to bloom. Grief can break a mortal, but when a goddess grieves, the world breaks with her. Demeter searched. Days became weeks, weeks became months, and when she finally learned the truth, that her daughter had been taken by her own brother, Hades, and worse, that Zeus, the king of gods, had allowed it. She did not cry, she did not plead. She stopped the world. The earth responded to her pain. Crops refused to grow. Trees bore no fruit. Rain stopped falling. The lush green world turned to dust. And humanity, once fed by her gentle hands, began to starve. Villages emptied, fields cracked, livestock perished. Even the temples of the gods grew silent, for no offerings came when the people had nothing left to give. Zeus, who once ruled with confidence, now faced a truth even he could not command. Without Demeter, earth would die, and with it, mankind, and with mankind, their prayers, their sacrifices, their worship. The gods, for all their power, were not above the will of the people, and the people needed food. So for the first time in eons, the gods listened, not out of mercy, but out of fear. And thus began a negotiation between Olympus and the underworld to decide the fate of one girl and the future of all life. The earth was dying, and the gods were desperate. Zeus, knowing that Demeter would never relent, sent a message to the underworld, to the one god who never answers calls. Hades, the king of the dead, appeared, cloaked in shadow, calm as stone. He listened as Zeus commanded, "Return Persephone to her mother." But Hades smiled. "She has eaten the food of my realm," he said. 6 seeds from a pomegranate, the fruit of the dead. And now, she belongs here. You see, in ancient law, to eat the food of the underworld was to become part of it. No force, mortal or divine, could undo that bond. Persephone was no longer just Demeter's daughter. She was now queen of the dead. Demeter wept, not with rage, but with heartbreak. And then, a compromise was struck. For every seed Persephone had eaten, she would spend 1 month in the underworld, 6 seeds, 6 months below. But the other 6 months, she would return to her mother, bringing life, warmth, and bloom back to the earth. And so the cycle began. When Persephone returns, Demeter rejoices. The earth blossoms, the sun shines brighter, and the world awakens. We call this spring and summer. But when she leaves, Demeter mourns again. The fields go silent, the leaves fall, the cold sets in, and so we have autumn and winter. It is not the tilt of the earth that brings the seasons. It is the aching heart of a mother, counting the days until her child returns. After losing her daughter, wandering the earth in sorrow, Demeter arrived in a small town called Eleusis. There, disguised as an old woman, she found shelter with a kind family, and for the first time in months, she rested. But even hidden, behind mortal form, her divine presence could not be masked. The crops near her footsteps began to grow. Animals followed her in silence, and the townspeople whispered, "This is no ordinary woman." In gratitude for their hospitality, Demeter revealed herself, and she gifted them a secret, a holy rite, a ritual passed only from goddess to human. Thus were born the Eleusinian mysteries. Held every year for over 1,000 years, these rites became the most sacred ceremonies in all of ancient Greece. But what happened during them? No one truly knows. The rituals were protected by an oath of silence. To speak of them was punishable by death. All we know is that they reenacted the story of Demeter and Persephone, descent into darkness, the search for light, and the promise of rebirth. Through this mystery, mortals found hope, that just as Persephone returns, so too could the soul rise again after death. Not just a religion, but a quiet revolution of belief, whispered between mortals and gods. Thousands of years have passed since Demeter walked among mortals, but her legacy remains in every field, every orchard, every harvest. Each seed that sprouts from the earth, each loaf of bread on your table, is a quiet echo of her gift. But Demeter gave us more than food. She gave us the rhythm of life, the understanding that nature breathes in cycles, growth, loss, and rebirth. Today, when we speak of Mother Earth, we're calling on the spirit of Demeter, a goddess who nurtures, protects, and provides. Movements for sustainable farming, ecological justice, and the empowerment of women in rural communities all carry her imprint. And every mother who fights for her child, who endures without thanks, who gives life again and again, is a living reflection of her divine spirit. Demeter's story is not ancient. It is alive, in the soil, in the seasons, and in the hearts of those who still believe that love can feed the world. Demeter's story is not just a myth. It is a truth. wrapped in poetry, whispered across generations. It reminds us that love is not weakness, that grief is not failure, and that a mother's will can shake the heavens. She didn't wage war. She didn't raise her voice. She simply withdrew her gift. And the world felt her absence in a time where nature is being exploited, where we take from the earth but forget to give back. Demeter's silence becomes a warning. Respect what feeds you, honor the cycles of life, and never underestimate the quiet power of love. In a time where nature is being exploited, where we take from the earth but forget to give back, Demeter's silence becomes a warning. Respect what feeds you, honor the cycles of life, and never underestimate the quiet power of love.